We did it with the wide receivers, the top 6 wide receivers walking into 2020 Dynasty Redraft. We talked about it all. Now it's time to hit the running backs. Who are my top 6 running backs, not for just 2022, but for 2022 and beyond? I've got pretty much every feasible option for a top 6 overall pick on my screen right here, jostled around. We're going to break down who my top, 1, 2, and 3 locks might be. Who's going to jump in and out from like 4 to 8, because it's going to be kind of all over the map and very arguable.
Smitty, why isn't Eckler number 3?
Smitty, how come Mitchell's not on your list? Smitty, Nick Chubb's top 5.
Look, just because your guy isn't ranked right where I rank him, just because you and I aren't on the exact same page with your running back, doesn't mean you don't have an argument to be made. This is a game of prediction, and I want your take below. I want you to post your top 6 running backs below. I'm just saying, let's have good conversation about it. If we take a look at last year's top 6 running backs, it's not even close to what really happened. Things are getting crazy in fantasy football. With the 19 list, players busting, players on the rise, a changing of the guard. It's going to be a little all over the map for every one of us if we compare rankings to rankings. So let's get that straight from the beginning. I think I'm going to have to stop my video that I have recorded and just interrupt and interject from here. And that's fine. I think that's natural. I think you guys like seeing my process, and that's my process. And I'm sitting here thinking, in Dynasty, I mean, I could be okay with going Eckler here in Dynasty, and you want to wait on the Javonte. My top 6 running backs for 2022 and beyond, the Fantasy Football Show
begins now.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Not much of a debate here at 1, or
is there?
Because if Aaron Rodgers lands in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, which is something I predict to happen, I think he goes to Denver or to Pittsburgh. Najee Harris becomes a big argument at the 1.1 in 2022 and beyond. Taylor and Najee are in their own tier. Taylor's ahead of Najee right now, but Aaron Rodgers would change everything. This guy manufactures touchdown production for the running back. Look at Aaron Jones for case in point. Aaron Jones barely runs for 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards. And yeah, he's really active in the receiving game, but he is a touchdown machine. Aaron Jones will disappear from the top 5 to 10 running backs in 2022 once Aaron Rodgers is gone and out of Green Bay. And I fully believe he is leaving. Now, I've said this over and over, and I don't want to beat a dead horse over and over on the topic, but look, there almost feels like a 0% chance A-Rod's staying in Green Bay. And if you want to pretend you know what he's thinking, like, oh, I want to play with Adams, I've got good rapport with him, or we're close to winning, and let's say they win, or let's say they lose. None of that matters, in my opinion. He's as good as gone. And if you say to yourself,
but Smitty, you're predicting what he's thinking.
Actually, I'm not. He almost retired because his contract was going to make him stay in Green Bay. And the only reason he came back is because the Packers said they would let him amend his contract so that he can get out of Green Bay after this 1 year here in 2021. So we actually do know what A-Rod's thinking. He said, put it in the contract or I won't come back. And yet people think, oh, he wants to stay.
He might stay.
Everything he has said and done has said, I don't want to stay and I will not stay. And he has spoken over and over about how the Green Bay Packers organization has never involved him in personnel or player decisions. So he's as good as gone, and you can't make up for all the missteps you've taken in that area in one offseason, which I don't think they've really corrected anything. Even if they did, he's gone. He is excited about a new chapter like Brady. He is excited and motivated by being happy, and he's very vocal about it on the Pat McAfee show, talks about it all the time. So I don't want to hear, oh, A-Rod's probably thinking he wants to play with Adams, or A-Rod likes the fact that they're so good right now in Green Bay. None of that matters for A-Rod at all. He's made that abundantly clear. So where's he going? Denver, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. It's the #1 job opening in the entire league. Tomlin. What player wouldn't want to play for Tomlin? Never had a losing season ever. Deontay Johnson, Claypool, Najee Harris, Freiermuth, and I don't want to hear offensive line's bad, Smitty. Why would he go? I just named probably the best offense a player could go to with the best coach, a good defense, and you're worried about one part of it, that will be vastly improved by the presence of Aaron Rodgers alone. A-Rod under center, kind of like Jamar Chase going to the Bengals, will spread out the defense. Aaron Rodgers, without even touching the offensive line, improves the offensive line probably tenfold. And they will work on it. They will draft for it. They will participate in making it better during the offseason. Give me a break. That will be their main objective. And guess what? They're going to go to A-Rod and say, A-Rod, we'll listen to what you say. What do you want us to do? Who do you want us to take? Not that they'll give him full control, but they'll give him a say. That's all Aaron Rodgers has ever wanted. And Pittsburgh would love him. And Pittsburgh could win a Super Bowl right away in year one. I know I said I wasn't going to dance around that for a while, but I guess I did.
Oopsie.
My point being that Najee Harris may not look like the one right now, but he will look very much like the equal to Taylor if and when A-Rod lands in Pittsburgh, or Russell Wilson even. But for now, I think I've made it pretty clear that Jonathan Taylor is the number one and Harris would be the number two. Again, debatable later on, not real debatable right now. Taylor is a monster. Taylor is a 18 to 20 TD running back, 2,000 total yards, focal point of that Colts offense, and they're going to get better and better. And it isn't until a quarterback heads to Pittsburgh that we can make the actual change of saying, hey, 1A and 1B, who's the number two? Until then, it's pretty locked in like that. And I take Harris number two. And what's funny is people have very short memories. People are very reactive to 1 week. Now everybody pretty much loves Harris at 2. A couple weeks ago, when Harris is in the middle of this kind of long rookie wall breakthrough that he's been trying to muster his way through, it's taken Harris a little longer than Jamar Chase to break through that rookie wall fully. He looks great right now. I firmly believe that everybody will be on board of Harris going forward as the number 2, but a couple weeks ago, I think it was like in question for some people that are reactive, that couldn't see the positives and the clear changes that are underway or on the way in Pittsburgh, quarterback, offensive line. And this is dynasty and redraft. It doesn't matter. In years past and probably in future years, dynasty and redraft might not be on the same track. Right now, it's a changing of the guard. It's not CMC and Kamara and Cook. It's not Taylor, Harris, doesn't matter. The format doesn't matter if it's redraft, doesn't matter if it's dynasty. And like the wide receivers, there might be 1 or 2 little switches we do, but we're not really removing too many players from the top 6. It's just more of like a moving around a little bit. Like with the wide receivers, Cooper Kupp was like 2 or 1 in redraft and like 3, 4, or 5 in dynasty. Tyreek Hill moves up or down a couple spots. With the running backs, you're going to see the same kind of thing. So who's number 3? I think Dalvin Cook's a safe early bet, so we're going to put him right here for right now. I want to put Javonte here in dynasty, right around this range. Let's put him right here. Let's talk dynasty first. So Taylor, Harris, doesn't matter. If we're talking dynasty, I think we start moving Javonte here. I don't think we can really rank any of these guys ahead of Javonte if we're talking dynasty. You could argue Eckler, but I do caution people away from thinking that Eckler's not going to have injury concern walking into the future years here. He's not a spring chicken. He's had injury history in his past, and it feels like you're holding your breath every time he hits the field. If you owned him in 2021, you know what I mean. So Eckler, I want to put 3-4 or 4-5. It's something to consider, but I don't think I'll lock Eckler into 3 or 4 in my redraft or dynasty. I'm letting you know up front. He's in the conversation. Don't get all crazy on me. And I'm totally okay if you have Eckler at 3 or 4. It's not a take a lap offense or anything. It's just preference for me. In dynasty, I'm putting Javonte number 3. I'm probably keeping Cook at 4, mainly because we can cuff him to Madison and we still have a rock solid, untouchable top 5 running back with Cook and Madison handcuffed together. So Cook's pretty safe in the top 3 to 4, 3 to 5 in redraft or dynasty because of the handcuff, undeniable super handcuff situation that we got. A security blanket above all security blankets. That is what Madison brings to the table. So this is dynasty. No, I don't have Henry there. It's dynasty, not redraft. No, I don't have Christian McCaffrey here. It is dynasty, not redraft. And I don't even know if we have McCaffrey in the top 6 at all, redraft or dynasty. We're going to get to that. And if you want to debate that below, we can. CMC running back 1. No, I don't think so. Not anymore. That ship is sailed. He's injury prone. We can't count on him. I know some of you want Mixon right in here. He's arguable, but he's going to fall out of my 3 to 4, even in redraft, especially in dynasty, because he's no spring chicken. He has tons of miles on those tires. No, thank you that high. Kamara's getting up there in terms of mileage, but okay, so I need to stop the video right there. I decided to leave all that in there because I want you guys to see my process. I want you to see me go from here to there and struggle and change my mind. And as I thought about it, I filmed that before week 18 kicked off, before Eckler had another 2-touchdown game. It looked another game phenomenal, another game more phenomenal. And the bottom line is Eckler, regardless of whether he's got the potential injury risk, but his stature, Cook's an injury risk too. And on top of that, you know what? Cook has an off-the-field problem that could potentially rear its ugly head and take him off the board. I'm not saying it will, but it could. And we don't know if Madison will be healthy. There's so many moving parts to speculate that the Cook and Madison combo is actually safer than Eckler. And if we're talking redraft, we'll get Henry here in a second. But if we're talking dynasty, I think I'm going to have to stop my video that I have recorded and just interrupt and interject from here. And that's fine. I think that's natural. I think you guys like seeing my process, and that's my process. And I'm sitting here thinking, in dynasty, I mean, I could be okay with going Eckler here in dynasty, and you want to wait on the Javonte quarterback situation. Will he get Wilson, or will he get A-Rod, or will they not bring anybody else in and Javonte move down to 4 or 5 for you? I'm okay with this in dynasty. I am. I personally am okay making assumptions that Javonte will be handed an A-Rod or a Wilson. I think Eckler's very safe there. So if we're going back to dynasty, this would be my dynasty ranking. And I could still put Cook and Madison here. I could put Kamara here. I don't have Henry in dynasty anywhere near my top 5 or 6. He might be at 10, something like that, 8. I don't know yet. I still think Chubb's probably more attractive than Henry for the long term. Henry's got a ton of mileage. Redraft, though, if we're talking redraft, we got to bring Henry in there. I understand. If we put Henry, let's say here, my caveat is that you trade him by week 7 or week 8. I do believe Henry will play this high at this level, at this insane, massive top 3 running back level for the amount of games he starts. The problem is his usage is through the roof. The dude has had so many miles put on in a very short window of time. He had one of the biggest, if not the biggest, college football carry season ever in history of college football. He was utilized so much in high school. Yes, they barely tackled him, but his mileage goes all the way back to the beginning of his high school days. He was just completely overworked his entire career. And yes, he had a short stint at the beginning of his career in the NFL where he was barely used. I get it, but he still is a very, very big injury risk at this point moving forward. The 2,000-yard season, the back-to-back 300 and 400 carry seasons, the over 27-plus carries per game that he got in 2021 that led him to be injured, and the fact that Derrick Henry does need 27, 28 carries a game to be Derrick Henry. If the Titans take that away from him to keep him healthy, he'll no longer be Derrick Henry, number 1, 2, or 3 overall player in fantasy football. And if they do feed him 26, 27, 28 carries a game, he will be Derrick Henry that dominates fantasy football, but he will get hurt. It's a double-edged sword, if you will. So in redraft, we could easily go something along these lines. In redraft, you could even switch these guys back and forth. You could put Mixon right here. I wouldn't be opposed to that. You could put Chubb. I do worry about Chubb more than most people at this like top 5 level. I just feel like he has a lot of injury risk. You could put Chubb, Mixon, all these guys right here. Swift, not yet, but he could be in the conversation. McCaffrey in redraft. I probably put McCaffrey in redraft probably around, let's type in CMC here, get him on the board, get him in the mix. I probably put CMC, probably downstream a little bit. Swift might even be above him. I just knocked CMC off the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Javonte, who's 3 in Dynasty, could float anywhere in here. It just depends on what kind of assumptions you want to make. I personally am okay going like this. I personally am. I could do this in redraft. I could go Taylor, Harris, Henry, Eckler, Javonte, Cook, Cuff to Madison, Mixon, Kamara, CMC. And this isn't a horrible swap if you want to play it a little more safe, or this isn't a horrible swap, or this isn't a horrible swap. I would take Javonte ahead of CMC in 2022 redraft. That's me. But in Dynasty, it swaps all the way up to about something like, I'd say like that, and then take Henry off the board. Take Henry off the board in the top, 8, 10. Christian McCaffrey barely hanging on. Nick Chubb is in the mix. Swift is in the mix right behind Mixon or right where Mixon is. That's my running back breakdown. In natural fashion, trying to give you guys my honest approach, my honest thinking, and where I value these guys in Dynasty and in redraft. Barkley, I know Barkley, people want Barkley in Dynasty in that top 6. He's not there. Gibson, he's not there. Like I said, Swift could be entered in this equation right around where this Mixon pick is. So let's put Swift in here just so people don't get upset at me and say, hey, where's Swift? Why didn't you put him on the board? Swift's right here. Swift's right around here. Gibby, I mean, we contemplate him here. And this is Dynasty, right? So again, McCaffrey's not there for me. He's maybe right around that range. Maybe he's ahead of Gibby. I mean, in 1 or 2 leagues, I might take a chance on McCaffrey. But I'm not taking McCaffrey over any of these guys in Dynasty. And in redraft, I might contemplate him right around where Swift is in 1 league. But that's about it. And again, in redraft, Henry goes way over here to like the 3 spot. Tell me what your thoughts are below. It's evolving. It's ever evolving. I could do this a week from now and it might be completely different. That's the nature of fantasy football. If you want an analyst that just cranks out a ranking and stands by it no matter what, it doesn't waver himself with the wind or the odor of what these teams are doing in free agency and through the news and all that, then you don't want this show, because I'm going to fluctuate. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm going to do what I did in this show, which is change my mind right in the middle of it, because I want you to see my process. Hit the like button. This is a live premiere, and I'm in the chat live, and Fridays might be a day on this Monday through Friday show that we do here at 7 p.m. Eastern every Monday through Friday here on the Fantasy Football Show here on YouTube. This Friday might be a day that I do a lot of these live premieres and give you content in this format. So subscribe if you're new, hit the like button. And let's take over 2022, shall we? Get on over to sleeperu.com, get that lifetime membership so you never pay for content again after you buy that lifetime membership. And if you get the top level membership, you get 2 years of one-on-one text advice. So do it live. Appreciate every one of you.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.